Welcome to Methuen Community Studios coverage of the City of Methuen's Municipal Election 2023. This is the Councilor-at-Large Candidates Forum. I'm your moderator, Michelle Houle. Elections at the local level affect our everyday lives. The mayor and the city council make decisions which affect the quality of life in our city. Together, they set the tax rate and the budget for public safety, public works, education, and many other topics. The people who serve in these roles are handpicked by the voters that they serve. We are here tonight with Councilor-at-Large candidates in ballot order: Jana Zanni Pesce, Francisco Surillo, incumbents DJ Beauregard, and Nicholas DiZoglio. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
I apologize if I said any names wrong. Feel free to correct me throughout the evening, but I have a habit of reading what's in front of me. MCS designed this program to give all candidates the opportunity to address the same questions. All of your responses will be timed, and questions will be answered in either 1 minute or 30 seconds. Candidates, when your time is almost up, you will be signaled to wrap up your response, with our timer having a little 10-second flag. Since we're here to learn about you and your positions on the issue, we will not tolerate personal attacks. If we do, let's try that again. If I do feel that there are any under my discretion, I have the right to cut you off. We don't want to do that. I've never had to either, so let's not find out how I would do that. If we have time, we may decide to explore a topic further with the candidates, and we'll offer some additional time. So now let's begin with the opening statements. You will each have 1 minute to speak directly to the voters. We'll begin with our first candidate in ballot order, Jana Zanni Pesce.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, I'm Jana Zanni Pesce, and as Michelle said, I'm a candidate for Methuen Council-at-Large. Thank you to Methuen Community Studios for hosting this forum. I think it's a great opportunity for the voters. I am a lifelong resident of Methuen. I grew up in the West End, and I now live in the East End with my husband and my 3 amazing children. My husband and I are both attorneys, and we have our law practice in Methuen as well. I have been so involved with Methuen throughout the years in every capacity of my life. And I really feel that Methuen is in a pivotal state right now. I feel strongly that the decisions that we make now will affect this community for a very long time. And I want to be part of that change. That's why I'm running. I want to make sure that it's a positive change, that all the residents are heard, and that the taxpayers are protected. So thank you, and I look forward to the questions this evening.
Thank you very much. Francisco Surillo.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Francisco Surillo. I've lived in the city of Methuen for over 9 years now. I'm currently the economic director for the city of Lawrence, former member of the Lawrence School Committee, current member of the Greater Lawrence Technical School Committee, as well as chair of the Methuen Housing Authority. This is, as candidate stated, this is the time now for Methuen, because we have the opportunity right now to changes we're going to do, or anything we vote on, is going to be effective moving forward for the community of the city, for the people of the city. We have to really move the city forward into a more positive light compared to all the things that have happened in the past. I'm running because I've been in this community for the last 9 years and making my life here and buying a house here. And I want to continue making sure that we're moving the city in the right direction and giving up space for the kids.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Candidate DJ Beauregard.
Hi, I'm DJ Beauregard, and I've had the honor of serving as your Councilor-at-Large since 2020. Most importantly, I'm Hillary's husband and Audrey's dad. I'm a homeowner, and I had the opportunity to attend the Methuen Public Schools throughout my entire time. As a student, I went on to earn my MBA, and I've helped grow organizations in the financial and nonprofit sectors. And knowing that conflicts is something that has plagued prior councils, I know you'll be pleased to know that I have no conflicts of interest or relatives on the city's payroll. When Mayor Perry and the City Council first took office nearly 4 years ago, Methuen was in a ditch. Today, to borrow an old phrase, Methuen is on the move. Our city's fiscal health is stronger than ever. I stood up to Joe Solomon on behalf of 53,000 victims of fraud. We paid off the $4 million school budget deficit early, saving taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. We are making investments in our schools and our roads, making government more transparent, and I look forward to talking about my vision for the next 2 years tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Nicholas DiZoglio.
Thank you. And first, thank you to Methuen Community Television for having this great event tonight and allowing us to speak. First off, I want to thank the community of Methuen, Massachusetts for allowing me to serve in this role for the last 4 years. And coming in as a final term, it brings great pride to the work that I have done on the council, being your voice and your backbone. You know, I can't do this without you, and I haven't been able to. And I also have the great support system of my wife, Lindsay, my daughter, Olivia, and my family. You know, I look back at the last 4 years and I look at the countless efforts that our city has pushed forward to make sure that our community isn't impacted by poor decisions that were made. I'm proud to say we've saved this city millions of dollars. We've created a great community where our families can thrive and businesses can trust. I hope to continue with that support going into this election. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. One question down. See how easy this is? We're going to start with our next question right away. These questions are actually only going to be 30 seconds each. We're going to be starting with you, Candidate Surillo.
Sure.
When I say the phrase city infrastructure, what do you think of?
Sidewalks, streets, school, police department buildings, DPW building, and these are the things I work on as an economic director for the city of Lawrence, to make sure that we're bringing in the money for we could build, keep the streets cleaner, make sure that the streets are paved, the sidewalks are better for people to walk on, as well as the parks and recreations for our young people. And make sure that we invest money in our DPW buildings to create a better building for them.
Great. Thank you very much. DJ Beauregard.
When I think of infrastructure, I think of our water and sewer infrastructure, in which we are investing historic amounts of ARPA funds into improving decades-long overdue projects that we're investing in there. I also think, as Frank alluded to, our roads, our sidewalks, and also I think of our recreational spaces too. And at this point in time, as I mentioned with ARPA, we are making transformative investments in all of our infrastructure, and I think it's something that is going to help move the city forward in a big way.
Okay, thank you. Nicholas DiZoglio.
Thank you. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it is the base and the backbone of our community. We look at how our services are impacted by our infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, water, sewage. These are all things that, again, we're continuing to invest in. I also think about public safety and public service areas, such as parks, roads, trails, our very historic rail trail. These are all part of our infrastructure. And I think of our families that utilize these roads, parks, sidewalks daily. Also, accessibility, ADA. That's a huge topic that's continued to rise in the city, and that's something that needs to continue to be addressed. I, for one, have family members that are both handicapped and disabled that utilize our sidewalks. I have a child that utilizes our parks that need proper equipment and proper structure to get there. We also utilize, personally, our roads every day to get in and out of the city. So we got to continue to invest in that projects.
Thank you. Jana?
Thanks. It's hard going last, and I agree with everything that's been said. One thing I would like to add is when I think of infrastructure, I think of planning, and that's really the key to all of it. Capital improvement plans and making sure that we have a plan in place to make sure we have adequate funding to preserve and use all the mentioned items that my fellow candidates mentioned previously to ensure we have it for years to come and we don't fall into any shortcomings with those particular items.
Thank you all very much. I just didn't like the definition that Webster's gave, so I wanted to know what you guys thought. Our next question is also going to be 30 seconds each, and we'll be starting with DJ Beauregard. As a councilor at large, you will represent the entire city rather than just one district. How do you prioritize the issues you may have to face?
Well, I think to a degree, every issue that comes before us from our constituents is critical. On any given day, I will hear from, say, a resident over off of Pelham Street about an issue. We hear about various trash issues that come up from time to time. And so I think in terms of being a councilor, regardless of whether you're at large or representing a district, it's really our job to represent all the people of Methuen, regardless of where they live. And that's the approach that I've taken, and that is the approach that I think all of my colleagues have taken at the end of the day.
Thank you, DJ. Nick?
You know, it's interesting, you know, at large, east, west, central, I think the role of a counselor is universal. I think we all do exactly what we do because we care about our community. Doesn't matter if it's a west or central. I think every counselor on here cares about the full community of the 50,000+ residents here. And whenever I get a topic or a concern or a scenario that comes to my way, first thing I do is approach it with the experts. Go right to the experts, make sure that they know about it, and we address it immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jana?
Thank you. I would agree again. You know, counselors are counselors, no matter where you're representing. I think the issues, almost all issues, will affect in some capacity Methuen as a whole. I think it's also important to remember that what I, as an individual, find important might be very different than what another resident finds important. So it is imperative to treat every single concern brought to you by a resident with the utmost importance, because again, there's that level of urgency that I may not have, but is important to that resident. So we really have to look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Thank you. Francisco?
I think I'm going to have to echo being last. It's hard because everybody's saying everything that we all agree on. No matter whether you're running at large or a district, you're in the community. You're more accessible than a governor or a state representative because you're every day living in the community, shopping in the community, eating in the community. So every issue, although being in the east, central, or west might be different and challenging, but they're all about addressing the issue, working with everybody, and working with the district councils as well, your large councils, to make sure that we are providing the best services to the residents of the community.
Thank you all very much. That's actually why we alternate who starts, so that somebody gets a chance to say ditto.
Well, I go first next.
You go first next.
Oops.
These are actually going to be 1-minute questions.
The long one.
We had asked viewers to send in some questions, and we actually had several that did, and we want to thank them for that. I don't know if you guys will by the time you hear them, but that's, we appreciate it. So this is a question from one of our viewers, and they would like to know, what are your feelings about a manager form of government? Would you be willing to put it on the ballot as a non-binding question to get the opinion of the voters?
Man, first question. Thank you. Thank you, viewer. Honest opinion, I think it has to be explored or discussed more in depth. I mean, any resident can go and petition something to be on a ballot. So if this is something that you're passionate about, look into it with the city clerk on how to get this as a ballot question. Second, as a councilor, realistically, the council has a lot of budget power here. We vote and we approve the final numbers that the mayor puts in front of us. But realistically, the mayor form of government or manager form of government really comes to the community and the community and the way it grows. Right now, we're growing at a great rate with the mayor form of government. We have the ability currently with the mayor providing us great services through our department heads. And overall, I would say that this mayor and administration has done a great job. If we're going to look at previous administrations, we need to talk separately. But I think in this current form of government, we're doing all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Jana.
Thank you. I've been here long enough that I've seen both. I've seen the town management, and I remember when it went to mayor. I like the mayoral form of government. I like the checks and balances that it provides. That's something that I feel really strongly about. I agree, though. Listen, if my opinion is only one. So I think at the end of the day, we're elected officials, and if it's on the ballot, it's something that the town as a majority feels very strongly about. I say town still, you see. The city as a majority still feels strongly about, then it needs to be something that's explored and potentially looked into.
Okay, great, thank you. Francisco.
I will agree. If the residents are looking for, there is a legal process of doing it, as Councilor DiZoglio had mentioned. And we also have to look at what the residents want and how it's going to work out. The difference between a town manager and a mayor is a mayor could be voted out quicker than breaking a contract on a town manager. So that's something we have to really want to explore. We could vote out a mayor in 2 years and bring in somebody new. A contract is a little bit more of a difficult thing to break. But we have to also look at what the residents want, not what we are looking for, because we are one vote, we are one person, and we're going to be representing the city of Methuen, not one person.
Okay, thank you. TJ.
I think the manager form of government makes sense perhaps in a smaller community than, say, a community Methuen size. I think ultimately, though, the issue here is one of accountability. As Jana referenced, there was a time when Methuen did have a manager form of government, and I believe in 1993, by a landslide margin, the voters went to the ballot box, rejected that form of government, and sought to, mainly because of term limits, but they sought to change to a mayoral form of government. And at the end of the day, if you are a town manager or city manager, all you need to do in order to hold on to power is maintain sufficient support among a majority of the council. And if you are, say, not performing up to the public standard, there's no opportunity for the voters to have their say and vote the mayor out. And you know, I think in terms of accountability, the question for me is, who is the judge and the jury here? It's the people. The people pay the bills. And I think the people should decide who the CEO of the community is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll be starting with you this time, Jana. And these are also 1-minute questions. Now that the city is no longer under state financial oversight and the city is looking at an excess of millions in the city treasury, how do you feel that money should be used, and how should city finances be managed in the future?
That's a great question. I will say this. I think, again, it goes back to planning. I think that there's a master plan that is coming down, and I think we need a lot of input as to how we need to spend the money. I certainly wouldn't call it a windfall, because I think there are a lot of things that have been neglected for some time. I mean, we're still coming out of COVID. There were a lot of, there was some mismanagement. You know, I saw it firsthand on the school side, being on the school committee right when I came in. And I think planning and putting policies into place to prevent the same sort of situations from reoccurring is the best thing we can do. I would like to see Methuen without oversight. I think we can do it. I think we proved we can do it. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I think we need to continue to make that same progress.
Thank you very much. Francisco.
I will agree. We have to be very particular how we're using our money. And one of the things is making sure, and to be able to get out of oversight, because I've worked in the city of Lawrence where we came out of oversight based on making sure that we're spending money in the right way, protecting the tax dollars, and making sure that little budgets issues are taken care of quickly and not put onto the taxpayers. And this is the only way to really look at coming out of oversight. And it's not a windfall, because it's a nest egg that we have to make sure and keep our credit rating up.
Great. DJ.
So in terms of the CAFO, for instance, I think it's important that we need to hold on to that position. It's critically important for the future of the city that we maintain that, even though the oversight is gone. In terms of exactly what we do with that money, I think that it's important that we do whatever we can to put as much of it back into the hands of the taxpayers as possible, because at the end of the day, it's their money, it's not ours, it's not the city's. And one of the things that we're about to do, I actually have a resolution, 2 resolutions on the next council agenda that I've worked with the mayor on. So the state provides for property tax exemptions for seniors, especially seniors who meet certain income and asset requirements. And we've had these laws on the books since the 80s in one case, and we have not offered the people of Methuen the full maximum exemption that's allowed by the Commonwealth under statute. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is exactly that, putting money back in the hands of the taxpayers. We have so much money, historic level of free cash that the city has, and I think it's important that we put it to work for the taxpayers.
Okay. Nick.
First, I would say I agree with DJ. The CAFO position is quite necessary. I think it's kept us honest. It helps the mayor. It's a good fiscal oversight internally, though we're outside of the state now. But personally, I agree with DJ. We got to give this money back to the residents. This isn't a rainy day fund or for us to go and give lavish upgrades to things. This goes back to services. This goes back to our community, the schools, the parks, the infrastructure. That's where this goes. And when we get past the planning and past the actual execution, this is what pays for that. This is what pays to keep the services going. The extra, think of the leaf pickup. We just bought a truck to make sure that leaf pickup, which starts the 16th, by the way, I got to plug it. All right, get your recycling out on your recycling days. It is important that those type of services continue with the city. And I look at our parks. I love seeing the kids run around and playing in those parks. I would like to see upgrades to the Milk Street Park. That's the next one on my agenda. Thank you.
Okay. I got everybody, right? Always like to ask.
I was last, yeah.
Okay. We're going to be moving back to 30 seconds for a second here. Well, I guess a question here. Francisco, we'll be starting with you. When weighing the decisions you will make regarding the budget, what are the top 2 things you take into consideration before even casting a vote?
One is making sure that each department is actually using the money correctly. We have to look at what expenditures projections and along those lines. How much we're investing in our infrastructure and in our kids, because we haven't really done much. And making sure one of the biggest thing is coming to Methuen is there's no places for the kids to really be kids. So that's one of the things, and making sure that we're holding every department accountable, every spending dollar accountable, because we have to make sure that there is accountability for everybody, and that's why the CAFO position is very important.
Okay, great, thank you. DJ?
You said 2 things?
2 things.
I have one thing that I keep in mind in terms of taking any vote, really. I think at the end of the day, our job as councilors is to act in the best interest of 53,000 people. How are the decisions that we're making at that table going to make the lives of 53,000 people better? And in terms of providing services to people, that ultimately is the bottom line, in my view. Is it going to be a program? Is it going to be an expenditure that's going to help people? And if it's not, I'm skeptical of that. But if it is, I think it's a worthwhile investment, and that's just a very basic principle I have in mind.
Okay, thank you. Nick?
Not fair. He looked over on my book and saw my notes on that one. It's impact to services and impact to residents, and residents first. It really is. When I look at where, an average community of, again, 50+ thousand with the average mean salary or in the 50s to 60 range, we're looking at potentially hardships in this community. People out there don't know if they're going to be able to pay for heat or rent. So giving back services and tax money to residents and making sure we have great police and fire and DPW services out there to make sure infrastructure and safety is top of mind, that's where I think about when I look at the budget every time.
Okay, great. Jana?
Thank you. Well, I have to say, no decision should be made in a vacuum. So the budget is fluid, like many things, and you really have to look at where you are at that exact moment to see and evaluate exactly what we're going to do. That's one. Number 2 is resident input and resident impact.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much. And we're going back to 1-minute questions, you know, those little ones. We'll be starting with DJ. What do you feel is Methuen's biggest unaddressed challenge, and how would you tackle it?
I think that our biggest challenge that we need to continue to address is economic development. Similar to Frank, I have a slight background, if you will, in economic development, working for the town of Arlington before stepping into another role earlier this year as their economic development director. And what's interesting about Methuen is that we have I think a challenge that has existed for a long time, and that is we have disjointed business districts in our community. We have our downtown, we have the Loop, and we have several other business corridors. And ultimately, I think that we need to focus on attracting more businesses to come to Methuen. The challenge piece is that we are right on the New Hampshire border. So if you want to go shopping, you can do so tax-free across the state border. So we need to identify opportunities to, I guess, work around those challenges and bring businesses to the city. I think what's great about Methuen, we have an incredible location, we have a competitive tax rate for commercial businesses, and I just think we need to work on, in essence, going out there and selling the city a little more than we are. Thank you.
Okay, great. Nick.
So I like that DJ tackled school economic development. I think I'm going to tackle the school district. I think the school community has done a great job over the last few years, especially getting us through COVID. We just purchased a new building to open up the classrooms. But I do think overall as a community, and this is something that we've been speaking about as a council, especially after the recent budget conversations, Methuen Public Schools is a major majority of our budget. It's now over $100 million. We need to look at how our districts are aligned. Our school districts, are they adequately appropriate? Are our school districts aligned to our population density? Should we look at the lines? Should we look at how we utilize these schools? So there's a lot of questions here that I think in the coming months a resolution will be brought forward to the council to create a committee to oversee an audit of the school department, full audit, which was done a few years ago after fiscal insight. But this is going to be less of a forensic audit, but more of an insight to our services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jana.
Thank you. Michelle, did you say coming together as a community, the challenge as a community, or the challenge on the council?
What do you feel is Methuen's biggest unaddressed challenge, and how would you tackle it?
Okay, so I think one of our biggest challenges as a community, and I alluded to it because it was in my head like a Freudian slip, is coming together as a community. I think community engagement is extremely important, and I think there are a plethora of issues that need to be addressed. Everyone has very big ideas, but we need to do small tasks to accomplish those big ideas. And I think working collectively on the smaller things might give us a much larger result. So, I would love to, be part of that conduit and part of that movement to kind of engage the community to overcome these challenges at a much more manageable pace, if you will.
Okay, great. Thank you. Frank.
Thank you. Along the lines with DJ, I'm also going to agree. We have a lot of business corridors that need to be addressed, especially the downtown. It needs to be revitalized. We need to start attracting those businesses to come to the city of Methuen. We want to make sure that our residents are spending their money in the city of Methuen and not going to New Hampshire. There's a lot of ways of looking at how we can do that. But it starts at attracting those businesses to come to the city. And one big way is to revitalize our downtown area, making sure that our historical sites are brought up to speculation to how they look on the outside to make sure the appearance is more attracting to businesses to come to the city.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much. Nick, will be starting with you, and you'll have 1 minute for this question. With a significant number of older residents wanting to stay in the city, but economically forced to downsize, how would you propose to add more affordable senior housing to the city's currently strained public housing inventory? Or do you just disagree and don't think we need to?
Well, I think everyone in Methuen's at the right age, I think we're all looking pretty good these days. But all seriousness aside, senior housing is tough right now, especially for homeowners. especially single homeowners potentially in the senior population. But I think Methuen has done a great job attracting communities and senior living. I think we have several communities that are age restricted, along with condominium complexes now that are offering suitable housing. But you know, the one part here that DJ keeps on alluded to too is, you know, the tax exemptions. There are things out there, there are services out there that we can provide seniors across our community with benefits and tax exemptions for all types of utilities and services, from taxes to, you know, main services at our senior center. Our senior center in Methuen is a great resource for our seniors. But I also want to say our housing value has been an amazing accomplishment in this community while keeping taxes down across the board. So our home ownership is got a good return on their equity.
Okay, great, thank you. Jana.
I will be the first to say I don't have a definite answer on that one. Housing is so tough across the country right now. Interest rates are ridiculous. The housing market has skyrocketed. You know, we talk about senior housing, and I see a lot on social media. Oh, we have so many, you know, senior housing communities in Methuen. We don't. We have a lot of active adult communities, but those communities are not, in my opinion, affordable to the average senior citizen. And when you talk about that, we need to get quality builders, quality, you know, senior housing alternatives so that we can have those seniors feel comfortable abandoning their, you know, 40-year plus home, and then they'll free it up for a newer wave of younger families coming in to Methuen. Again, I wish I had a hard and fast answer as to how exactly we do that. I'm not sure. I would definitely be open-minded to looking at what we could do, but I think it starts with bringing in, like I said, quality builders with affordable housing for seniors.
Okay, thank you. Frank.
Hi. Thank you. Actually, is a topic that is well near to heart, because as the chair of the Methuen Housing Authority, we need to start investing into senior housing. We need more housing for seniors to actually age in place and make it affordable. We label things affordable when in reality it is not affordable. I just got back from a conference at the Cape of the housing authorities across the Commonwealth, and this is something we're talking about really, because people place the affordable listing on things and people can't really afford to live in them. And we're looking at our seniors, where it is a process we'd really have to invest, because these are the people that paved the way for us moving forward. And we have nothing really in place to protect them. Methuen Housing is limited to the units that we have to afford to give to people, and we have a huge waiting list. So one of the things coming back from the Cape is talking to the board and looking at us investing more to purchase more property so we could have some better places for our seniors and as well as our veterans.
Okay, thank you very much. And DJ.
So what I'm about to say, I don't think is the be-all, end-all for the housing crisis. And mind you, I think the housing crisis and the cost of living crisis, they both go hand in hand. But I'm also a proponent of avoiding the temptation to reinvent the wheel, if you will, and if that's possible. So I look to what has been done at the state level up in Maine and in New Hampshire, and also in next door Haverhill. They tackled this issue earlier this year. And that is the potential loosening of restrictions on, they call them accessory dwelling units. Think like an in-law suite. What's great about that opportunity, at least on paper, but we see it in practice in, say, states like New Hampshire and in Maine, it's an opportunity for people who've lived in their home for a long time. And let's say, you know, goodness, you live on a fixed income and your bills keep going up, but your income stays the same. If you, say, a municipality were to loosen some of those restrictions, that creates an opportunity for homeowners to have an easier time to, in essence, construct or repurpose space in their home for an accessory unit to earn, say, extra income every month. And also, it's something that is a tried and true way to provide for affordable housing, in that, say you have somebody who's just starting out, or another senior citizen, they can't afford an apartment or a mortgage. Well, an opportunity like this where they pay a market rate to take advantage of the ADU, that's something that I think is a potential solution that we should talk about at the very least.
Thank you all very much. And the next question will start with Jana. These are going to be 30-second responses, please. With the recent move of the school department offices from Ditson Place to Branch Street, what would you let me try this again. With the recent move of the school department offices from Ditson Place to Branch Street, what would you propose be done with the Ditson Place Central School building?
Well, I'm happy with our plan in place right now, to be honest. And one of the best developments is, the auditor, then senator, had secured quite a bit of funding for a youth center, and we had nowhere to put it. So recently, the school committee, we voted to kind of do a hybrid youth center there, which I think is going to be fantastic for this community. And we're going to be able to funnel that money and start. And the Ditson Place, if anyone has ever walked through it, has already a gym. It's a perfect setup for it. So the plans with the school committee and the youth center that are already in place there, I think is a great start.
Francisco.
That's a beautiful concept, but I prefer to have a conversation with Greater Lawrence Tech and bring a satellite vocational aspect to the city, and that would be a perfect location because it's centralized, and it's close to 213 where people could go back and forth to the school for academics or have academics here and do the shop at the school and create increase the after dark program for Methuen kids, because not all kids are going to go to college, but if you give them a good trade school and for free, then we give them a better opportunity.
Okay, great. TJ.
This is probably the closest I'll have tonight to a ditto answer, but exactly what Jana said when it comes to a youth center. Methuen needs a youth center. It's a great spot for it, and I stand with Auditor DiZoglio and her efforts to bring one to Methuen.
Okay, and Nick.
Well, I'm going to say I think it needs some more discussion. I've been hearing for almost 10 years about a community and a youth center, and I know it's always been going from one location to another. But I think, as Mr. Surillo said, there's other opportunities here for not just that property, but also for the Searles estate. A lot of communities around us are building campuses for universities across the Commonwealth here, and I would love a satellite campus here from either NECO, Salem State, Merrimack, UMass, because we got 2 or 3 great hospitals in the area where nursing is a low established curriculum right now, and having a nursing school in this city would be a perfect start.
Okay, some interesting ideas for people to think about. Our next question is going to be 1 minute. We'll be starting with you, Mr. Surillo. This is another question from a viewer. What is your opinion on the placement of migrant families within Methuen city limits by state agencies? How do you propose it be handled should the situation arise again?
One is talking back to the state and making sure that if they are going to be placing migrant families in the city of Methuen, that funding comes with it. We can't expect the taxpayers to completely take up funding for these places, for these people coming in. So if people are going to be brought in, then we need to have the funding along with it, as long as some of the resources attached to it. We can't just expect to keep giving out resources in this area. With that, it is having a conversation with both the state delegation, the federal delegation, as well as the governor's office to make sure that we're given the ability to help these people come in, because we have to provide schools, we have to provide housing, and we don't have that now for our current residents.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilor Beauregard.
So I'm not one to wear my faith on my sleeve, but I am a person of faith, and I believe very strongly that it's important that we take care of the poor and we take care of those less fortunate. But I'm going to flip the script just a little bit here, because this is a slightly different situation than I think what we're seeing in other parts of the country. I don't think that the conditions at the Days Inn are suitable literally for anyone. whether you are a homeless resident of Methuen who needs help, a veteran who needs help, and we need to prioritize taking care of our own residents and veterans, certainly as a city. And I think that the owner of the hotel, quite frankly, and this is something that I've been very public about, has, in essence, taken advantage of crisis after crisis to make a quick buck on the back of the taxpayers of Methuen. I refuse to stand for that. Mayor Perry and his administration, they refuse to stand for that. And I think in terms of the Days Inn itself, it's been a hotbed of criminal activity for over a decade. It's a total disaster. I look forward to the day when the hotel closes for good. And in the meantime, though, I think in terms of the crisis that we're dealing with, it is on the state. We need to work with our partners at the state level to find suitable housing for anybody who's there, including our residents.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor DiZoglio.
Thank you. I've been very public about this too, and it's not just migrants in this hotel either, or in this vicinity. It's homeless. This is a national issue. It is a state issue, and I think at this point, Methuen has been in crisis mode for probably a good 5 years now with this hotel. I agree with Councilor Beauregard when he says this hotel is taking advantage of the taxpayers, taking advantage of the taxpayers of Massachusetts, not just the state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. He is charging top dollar for that hotel per room, per night, with no end in sight. There is hundreds of code violations in that hotel, several where our public health department has gone in, shut down certain areas of that hotel, and we continue to see the state funding it. It's a disgrace, and I hope the governor gets a message clearly soon that she should come and stay in one of those amazing rooms that she is giving to the to these homeless people. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Pesce.
Thank you. I agree with everything that was just said. I think the conditions there are deplorable and it's unfortunate. Again, I don't think there's a hard and fast solution, but we can tackle it almost as a two-tier situation. I think the school side in dealing with a lot of these displaced students has had a lot to overcome, and we've been advocating tirelessly for funding to reimburse the taxpayers for some of the costs. So I think that's the first thing we have to focus on, is mitigating the costs associated with a situation like this. Secondly, we look to the future. Can we stop it from happening? I don't know, but there have definitely been inklings that this sort of thing would happen. I know on the school side in the past, this isn't the first displaced family that we've had questions of residency and that sort of stuff come before the school committee, and having to deal just not on as large a scale as we are dealing with now. But for the future, I think we really need to work with businesses to minimize the impact of these sort of issues in the future.
Thank you all very much. We are going to work on 30-second answers this next time. And we'll be starting with you, DJ. I think we've already touched on this, but just a little elaboration. As a border city, Methuen is constantly competing to attract consumers. What suggestions do you have to make the city more desirable?
Well, I think we have an opportunity, as I referenced in a prior answer, to go about a real marketing effort to advertise all of the things that make Methuen a wonderful place to live, work, and play. I think that in terms of, there's a lot of companies down on the 128 stretch, and it would be great if we could scoop some of them up and bring them to Methuen. Like I know the mayor and his team have brought New Balance. They're over on Lowell Street, and several other companies are setting up shop here. And so I just think in terms of our location, it's ideal, our tax rate's competitive, and we have an incredible workforce here in Methuen. So if any business owners outside of Methuen are watching, come to Methuen.
I just like the idea of people outside of Methuen watching.
You never know.
Nick?
I like to echo that, but I also look at the great strides we've made in the last few years, the businesses that have come to Methuen, the revaluation of downtown Methuen. We're seeing a lot of progress in the last 4 years, and we continue to see great companies like New Balance come to Methuen. And You know, I look at some of the open space we have and or, again, real estate. I say the Searles Estate. Again, I look at all the communities around us with big universities joining their communities. We are a young population as well. We have a lot of students here that go off to do great things in our community, from public service to public safety, and I think we could capitalize on that greatly.
Okay, Jana.
Thank you. I am a small business owner in Methuen, and while there was no other place that I'd want my business, we need to make Methuen more attractive to people without, to businesses without such strong ties to the city like I have. I think we need to offer really aggressive tax incentives, tax credits, get in businesses that want to be here, want to grow with the city and stay here. And we need to balance that with keeping existing businesses here as well. And I think that will serve the community as a whole very well.
Okay, and Francisco.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure thing. As a border city, Methuen is constantly competing to attract consumers. What suggestions do you have to make the city more desirable?
Okay, thank you. And I want to agree with everything has been said here as an economic development director, but we're looking to attract consumers. We have consumers in the city of Methuen. I think the Loop is a great place if we take a section out from parking and create a parking lot where we can make a place-making set where people are not only coming to eat, buy, shop, but also stay. Tuscan Village is a perfect example. If you go behind the Tuscan Market, they have that area where people are coming together. There's a stage, people are playing music, people are playing games, people are staying and shopping within the community. They're not going elsewhere. So it's developing a 7-day economy where people are live, work, play, all in the same area. And this is where we start marketing Methuen. And this is how we start showing how more competitive we are than Salem.
Great. Thank you all very much. And Nick, this next question is also 30 seconds. This is another question from a viewer. Where do you stand on animal welfare issues, including pets, farm animals, and wildlife? For example, do you support selling animals in pet stores? What is your stand on farm animal treatment and hunting wildlife?
I mean, I've been a dog owner for my whole life, so I mean, I can't even see my dog get a needle at the vet. I have to look the other way, to be honest with you. But you know, I am, you know, the MSPCA does a great job in Methuen. I want to go right to that. The farm does a great job on rehabilitating animals, taking in animals. I actually my daughter goes to one of the daycares in that area, and if I go pick her up, we automatically go to the farm to see the horses, the pigs, and the rabbits in the window. And I mean, they have a great job taking in animals. And again, cruelty to animals, I'm completely against. I mean, it's that I just want to cuddle my dog now.
We'll let you do
That's
that.
That's a quote now later. I know. I'm going to cuddle my dog.
Jana.
I am absolutely an animal lover. I don't have any pets at the present. I have 3 amazing children that keep me endlessly busy. So, you know, while I would have loved an animal, especially during COVID, when I was home so much, it wouldn't be fair to them. So I'm absolutely an animal lover. I would echo Nick with the MSPCA. It's a fantastic resource that we have here in Methuen, and it's wonderful. I think it helps a lot of people out too if they can't care for their animals. They do a great job there.
Okay, great. Francisco.
I'm going to agree with the MSPCA because I am an animal lover. Not currently a pet owner, but because I work constantly, as getting a call, I'm rushing here from work and got one more place to go before I make it home. But I mean, it's a great place and it's a great therapy thing for kids with disabilities, kids with mental health issues, or people in these areas to get an emotional support animal. So cruelty to animal is just intolerable.
Okay, and DJ.
So we have a 3-year-old Aussie Doodle named Violet at home, who we absolutely love Violet. And I think in terms of the issue of animal welfare, this isn't something that we necessarily deal with on the council at all. But in terms of what we do at the city level, it fascinates me, and I think it's something that's just so wonderful about our community. It's that whenever a dog goes missing or a cat goes missing, you see on social media, everybody comes out to try to do what they can to help. And I think when it comes to our police department, we have the animal control division there. And, I think we focus on that opportunity to, bring the community together in that way. That's a great thing. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much. And can you believe it's been an hour? Time flies when you're having fun, huh? I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. We're going to take our last few minutes and offer the candidates 1 minute each to speak directly to the viewers for any last comments that they may have. We begin with Jana Zanni.
Is this my closing?
This is your closing.
Thank you. Thank you again to MCS. I really appreciated this forum. I think it was great. I hope it gave the viewers a chance to learn a little bit more about me and hopefully earn their vote on November 7th. If you'd like to learn more about my initiatives, you can visit my website at pesceforprogress.com. And again, I'm Jana Zanni, candidate for Councilor-at-Large. I'm number 1 on the ballot.
Okay. And number 2 on the ballot?
Number 2 on the ballot.
Surillo.
Thank you very much. Francisco Surillo. Thank you to Methuen Community Studios for having this forum. I think it was a great way for people to get to know the candidates. My name is Francisco Surillo. Experienced leadership role. You bring a lot of great ideas to the city, easy to communicate with. And you want to get to know more about me, come see me at the VFW in about 5 minutes. I'll be there. And come and get to know more.
Make it 10. We don't want you speeding.
10 then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
DJ Beauregard.
I'll thank also MCS for hosting this forum, and also I want to give a shout out to my fellow candidates. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and run for office, so congratulations on taking the jump. Contested races are healthy and strengthen our democracy, and I'm glad that we have one here. Under the leadership of Mayor Perry and this City Council, we have moved Methuen forward. The proof is in our progress. However, we still have more work to do, whether it's putting more money, as I've referenced, back into the pockets of our taxpayers, taking steps to tackle the housing and mental health crises, making Methuen an even safer community, and continuing to facilitate more investments in our roads and schools. We are nowhere close to being done yet. And I'm running for re-election because I want to continue fighting for our veterans, seniors, families, and kids. I'm DJ Beauregard. I'm number 3 on the ballot, and I hope to earn one of your 3 votes for Councilor-at-Large. Hope you'll join me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nicholas DiZoglio.
Thank you. I just would like to say thank you to MCS and also my family. Hopefully you guys are watching live, if not the recording. But I got to thank the community as well. These last 4 years have been a pleasure, and I am running for re-election because I truly believe that I am your voice. I have never voted to pretty much sway anyone's opinion of myself. I've never voted in the best interest of myself. I continue to vote for what's best for this community, and I think this council has done a great job. This mayor has done a great job, and I'm truly proud. I think a lot of us that have been politicians recently can say that in this community, is we're proud of the work we've done. And I'm proud to be one of the 4 candidates up here with these great people. I'm number 4 on the ballot. So start from the bottom, work your way up, please.
Hey.
And if you would like to learn more, please go to DiZoglio and I appreciate your support on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. This has been very enlightening, and I hope everybody at home is going to find it just as hard to vote as I am now.
We work from 1 to 2, right?
Yes, thank you to the candidates for participating in this forum.
Top down.
Start from the bottom up.
We have a battle going on.
Top down.
Top down. So you can stop at the first 2.
Just bullet me, folks. Just bullet me. There we go. No, I'm joking.
Michelle, you're losing the crowd.
I am losing the crowd.
Actually, no. Let's make it the top 3.
There we go. All right, there we go. We got to have fun with this.
Okay, that's it. How about we just vote all 4 of you in? I don't think we could just do that, but we'll try. We'd like to thank the viewers for their questions and interest in this program. Although it's getting even more interesting now. I kind of enjoying this part.
We all know each other.
We all know each other. I mean, actually, no. It's the first time I actually ever met Jana. But this is a great group of people. And it's my honor being here with you guys.
Ditto.
Likewise. Ditto. That's
Ditto.
the word of the night.
And cuddle my puppy.
We'll let Michelle go now. Michelle, do it while you can.
Hurry up.
And it's been my honor to work with all of you. As the candidates have said,
We'd be lost without you, Nancy.
as the candidates have said, it's up to you to vote. Methuen will host early voting at Methuen City Hall Customer Service Area on Monday, October 30th from 8 to 4:30, Tuesday, October 31st from 8 to 4:30, Wednesday, November 1st from 8 to 4:30. There's a trend here. Thursday, November 2nd from 8 to 4:30, and Friday, November 3rd from 8 to 12. So
It's that top.
be aware of that one. Or you can vote on Tuesday, November 7th at your local polling place, open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And be sure to join us here on Methuen Community Studios that evening, beginning at 7 p.m., to find out if your candidate will be serving next year. There are 4 places to vote in Methuen. Precincts 1, 2, 6, and 10 vote at the Timony Grammar School on Pleasant View Street. Precincts 3, 7, 9, and 12 vote at the Tenney Grammar School at 75 Pleasant Street. Precincts 4 and 5 vote at the Methuen Senior Center on Lowell Street, and precincts 8 and 11 vote at the Marsh Corner School on Pelham Street. If you're unsure of your precinct, please call the City Clerk's office at 978-983-8515 or go to the city's website, methuen.gov. They will have all the information you need, and you can also get more information on wheredoivotema.gov. We want to thank our volunteer crew who was here tonight to work on the forum, as well as our staff. And thank you all. You all did a great job. You're all getting a round of applause from the candidates. And I didn't even have to push for that. We want to thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned because we have our 5-minute candidate show coming up, and followed by the mayoral forum will be live at 7:30. I'm glad they have notes for me. Thank you all very much. I'm Michelle Houle, and from Methuen Community Studios and all of the election team, thank you for joining us. Good night.